The rest of the AFC West is shaking in their boots after hearing this about the Denver Broncos. If there's one perceived weakness, at least on the national media scale, heading into the 2025 season for Denver, it's the wide receiver room. I hear all the time on national radio, or I read all the time in articles, that the Denver Broncos should go out and trade for this receiver, or they should sign Amari Cooper, who's still available as a free agent, so on and so forth. I hear this stuff all the time. But if you're actually here in Denver, if you actually follow the team, you know that the Broncos are quite happy with their receiver room, and I don't foresee any additions being made. Courtland Sutton is a really good X-receiver for this team. He may not be a true number one receiver in a lot of other situations, but he's a good number one receiver for this team. He's got great chemistry with Bo Nix. Devon Vele had a strong rookie season. He's settling in quite nicely as that big slot receiver. Evan Ingram is also going to be basically a big slot receiver for you. You've got Pat Bryant, who the Denver Broncos drafted in the 3rd round this year, and Marvin Mims had a very strong sophomore season, and in his 3rd year, he's really looking to step up and be that number 2 pass-catching threat for this team. However, there is one guy who is starting to fly under the radar a little bit, and I might be guilty of sort of pushing him under the radar because I don't feel like I've given this player enough love. I said that he was going to have a really strong training camp in order to impress and make an impact on this roster in year 2. I'm talking, of course, about Troy Franklin. I'm very happy to report that after the first week of training camp, Franklin has done just that. But before we talk about that, guys, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. Help improve the production quality of these videos. As I always like to say, it's not mandatory. You do not have to support if you don't want to, but if you guys want to go above and beyond in exchange from some extra perks and incentives, I would greatly appreciate if you would consider becoming a channel member today. Now, the best thing that I can report about Troy Franklin coming out of training camp, his route tree has expanded quite a bit. His route tree was pretty limited last year. In fact, I have it right here. Let's go ahead and bring that in. Thank you, Henry Chisholm, for posting this on Twitter. He basically had 3 plays last year if you look at his percentages. 28.6% of his plays were go balls. He did have a counter off that. 12.2% of his plays were hitch routes or stop routes. You've got to have a stop route if you're going to have a go route. You need to have some sort of counter there. 26.5% of his plays were screens, and then 12.2% were crosses. Everything else is in the single digits in terms of percentage. I can't go specifically into detail in terms of what routes he was running out there, but he was running a lot more routes in the short and intermediate areas of the field as opposed to just being a straight line speed merchant. That was one of my biggest concerns about Troy Franklin coming out, and that's why I ultimately feel like he fell in the draft from the 2nd round to the 4th round. Everybody was projecting him to be a 2nd round pick coming out of Oregon. He goes in the 4th round ultimately, and I think that's why. He had such a limited route tree. He's working really hard to expand on that area of his game. I'm very happy to see that. Now, we haven't really seen any of those deep bombs between Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. We have seen a couple between him and Jarrett Stidham. There was one where Stiddy stepped up in the face of Dondre Tillman pressure and launched an absolute nuke on a deep post. Franklin had a step on 2 defenders. It was a beautiful route. It was a beautiful throw, and probably one of the best plays of training camp to this point. I'm really excited to see as Franklin gets more and more work with the ones, how that connection on those deep balls improves with Bo Nix. We finally saw them hit on one in the playoff game against Buffalo. That's something that we're hoping to see more and more of this season. The go ball is still going to be one of the key elements of Troy Franklin's game. He's so good at it, why wouldn't you do that? But I do anticipate some of these other routes here in the short and intermediate areas of the field to go up. especially this slant route category here. I'm not giving away too much, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Troy Franklin slant routes this year, and slant routes from other players. If there's one route that we haven't seen a lot of in the Sean Payton era here in Denver, it's the slant route. And think about all those offenses that Sean Payton ran in New Orleans. Michael Thomas was literally known as a slant god. The Broncos haven't really had the personnel to run slant routes in the Sean Payton era. Now they do because of some of the outside additions that they made, as well as the improvement in some of the in-house guys that they have. Marvin Mims, it's the same thing. His route tree is improving. I think that Troy Franklin is taking the similar steps that we saw from Marvin Mims in year 2. Hopefully, we'll see the same thing happen with Franklin next year heading into year 3, as Mims is now heading in and he's taking some big steps. Hopefully those two have a similar trajectory in their development, even though Franklin is 1 year behind Mims. It's really good to see these young receivers growing and getting better with our young franchise quarterback in Bo Nix, and that's what gives me so much promise heading into the year, and that's ultimately why the Denver Broncos didn't make any big-time additions outside of Pat Bryant in the wide receiver room, unless you want to count Evan Ingram as an addition in the wide receiver room, and I kind of do. That's why they didn't go out and sign a big-name wide receiver. It's because they're confident in the young cats to step up. And so far, they have done just that. I'm really encouraged. Alright, Broncos country, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And let me know in the comment section below, guys, how confident are you in Troy Franklin heading into year 2? Do you think that this development and this momentum is going to continue as we go throughout the course of training camp, the rest of training camp, and the preseason? Alright guys, before we get out of here, I want to shout out the affiliate partner for today's video, Green Gridiron Helmets. Use code DENSYN, link in the description below, to save off your first purchase on authentic NFL helmets. From small replicas like this one behind me to full-size authentic helmets, they've got it all. Again, that is code DENSYN, link in the description below, to save off your first purchase from Green Gridiron Helmets. Thank you so much to them, and until next time guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.